Boston school superintendent Tommy Chang has indicated he is not the world's biggest fan of standardized testing and is open to alternatives. So, could the MCAS finally be flunking out?
Kids are tested too much and they should be given more time to play outside.
I think it is very important to have a measure of what children are learning in school.
Standardized tests have been known not to really determine a person's full intelligence.
So would you be encouraged to have the superintendent or the schools look at alternatives?
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to Tommy Chang to see what new blood and new ideas he brings to Boston.
I'm in favor of alternatives.
So you'd like to see it stay in place, MCAS?
Yes. No changes.
That's our launching point for OTR Political Roundtable this morning, and we're joined by Democratic analyst Marianne Marsh and Republican analyst Pat Griffin. Great to see you guys. Happy October, by the way. We're already into October.
Oh, God.
I know, the holidays are just around the corner.
And guess what? Snow is coming.
Snow is coming.
No.
Stop.
Right.
Everybody stop, okay?
Right.
So Governor Baker campaigned on DCF. He criticized Deval Patrick. He criticized Martha Coakley on this. It took him 9 months to come up with a plan, and only after several major tragedies. He spoke out on this a lot this past week. Is he moving quick enough, and is he offering the right fix, Marianne?
If you have to tell DCF that their #1 job is to keep kids safe, then that is a complete and utter failure. You need to get rid of everybody. Protocols isn't enough. If, however, the protocols and what he established is to lower the bar and lower expectations, that's unacceptable too, because kids are still going to get killed and still going to get harmed. So any more kids from this day forward are blamed on Governor Baker, DCF, and every legislator. Period, end of sentence. You cannot accept one more death as just inevitable. That's unacceptable.
So too slow and not enough? Is that what you're saying?
Sounds that way.
How about you, Patrick? Is she right about that?
Well, she's right that any more children that are harmed or worse killed is unacceptable, and I think the governor's made that clear. Look, the governor came in and faced opioid crises, MBTA, snowstorms, near $1 billion deficits. We could go on and on. And this has been 8 years, if not longer, that the Patrick administration completely did not address this issue. The governor's basically said a couple of things. In the next few days, he's going to appoint a chief medical officer. That's something new for DCF. And also reopen the Central Massachusetts office that Governor Patrick closed for DCF. We got to reduce caseloads, and we've got to use technology and people better. You can always do better. I don't think anyone made it clearer than Charlie Baker that this sickens him. I think people sleep better at night knowing he's in charge, and I think you should be asking what happened in the last 8 years.
But this goes back to Bill Weld, to be fair. So everybody's guilty. We've talked about that before. But Charlie Baker, I think, is uniquely qualified to fix this problem, and I hope he does, because it's in everyone's best interest.
And I think he will. And I think he will.
See.
I think that's what this was about this last week. It didn't get fixed in the last administration.
Item two, fair enough to say. Item 2 is $1 billion. Pat, I want to start with you. Mayor Walsh wants $1 billion to overhaul Boston's outdated public school buildings. $1 billion. Is he going to get it?
I think he is going to get it. I think he'll get it through the city. I think he'll get it. It's a great campaign plank for Marty Walsh. Look, Dr. Chang said this morning, most of these schools they predate World War II. The structures are old. My challenge, I think, is in this master plan that the mayor's trying to sell, is it just the buildings? Because the buildings do need to be fixed, but we don't teach the way we did pre-World War II or post. Our classroom is going to be different. Is pedagogy going to be addressed? Curriculum, technology, these should be part of this, not just fixing the
He's being generous with World War II. Some of them predate the War of 1812.
And he also mentioned this morning that he's talking about voters paying more money. He's talking about possible tax increases. Can you see that going through?
Everybody knows the schools need to be better. Everyone knows they need to be fixed. But Marty Walsh is going to have to do a better job selling this than he did with the Olympics. Because the bar is higher now for him because of that. And he's going to have to explain how the money's being spent, why the money's being spent, what the plan is, and who's going to implement it.
But what about Worcester? What about Springfield? What about New Bedford? What about Taunton? What about Lawrence in that whole scheme?
Here's every problem we face in society. Everyone says you can throw more money at it, and in many cases we should. But on the other level, there are people involved here, and everyone needs to do a better job, period.
Yes or no?
And my money is on, excuse me, Jen, my money is on the mayor. I think this is a great campaign plank, and I think he does get it through.
So yes or no, do you see him getting a tax hike to fund this?
Tough.
tough as well, but I also think we'll see funding come from other places, as Tommy Chang said.
Okay, let's switch over to to presidential politics. Some polls are showing Donald Trump may be losing steam. Ben Carson is a near match in some numbers with Marco Rubio and Carly Fiorina right behind them. Is this summer of Trump over, Marianne?
Not at all. Everyone's predicted Trump's demise. The fact is he's continuing to increase in the polls. His support is more solid than anybody else's, as is Carson right behind him, and less so Fiorina.
Summer of Trump, is it over, Pat?
It's not over, but the sound you hear in the background is the fat lady warming up. Donald Trump's act is wearing thin. I'm one of the ones who've been saying over and over again, as you know, Marianne, he would not make it like an awful lot of other people in Washington. I think his problem is, like a lot of kids in high school, he's peaked too early. The act gets quiet, and he doesn't fill the big room in Vegas anymore.
Wrong?
No, I mean, where's Jeb? Trying to crawl up the ladder
anybody, I defy anybody who understands that state as well as I understand it to take a look at where people were at this point in the last campaign. Republicans nominate the people who are the establishment,
run a traditional campaign,
and that's what's going to happen this time.
And that's Jeb Bush's problem.
Reince Priebus wants to change the primary calendar so that New Hampshire loses its first in the nation primary status the next election cycle. Not this one, but the next one. Is it time, Marianne?
No, everybody in the country trusts New Hampshire to vet their candidates because they spend more time with them. And anybody who opposes it, hello, Kelly Ayotte, I haven't heard you step up for this yet, and you're going to pay a price. Okay? So everybody wants to keep it. Reince Priebus can't even control his own party. Forget the primary.
So, Patrick, does the Granite State have the political power to stop this?
Well, if Marianne's not sure where Senator Ayotte stands on this, I can assure you she's for preserving, protecting the New Hampshire primary, and you will be hearing more and more about that. Second of all, bad box office for Reince Priebus. This doesn't work well. Not only does New Hampshire have to do the right thing from retail politics, but we also have to correct Iowa, which has been a crazy place lately. What happens there gets fixed by New Hampshire.
Yes or no? Should there be just a national primary one day?
No.
Like, no.
No, absolutely
All right,
not.
we continue on the record. Stay with us.